Welcome to the StockManor.com studios here in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your Stockmanor, Brian Johnson, and stocks took a little bit of a slide today and then tried to, of course, grab it back before the close. Bulls coming right back in, but not before the market showed negative signs at the end of the day. So a little bit of a slow Friday here. We did get some action towards the afternoon and at least gave us something to watch, if nothing else. I don't necessarily like to jump into any kind of new positions coming into the end of a week like this, so I will usually stay out of stuff if I'm not already in something when it comes to the markets themselves. So let's see how we did this week. Coming right back into these lower levels, this 12.3 to 12.450 is really the area to keep your eye on now. You can see this right here. We've seen this before, and for the time being, this is just a bull pullback. This can lead to definitely can lead to lower prices, but as it is right now, with the information in front of me, it is a bull pullback. So any kind of breaks to the upside, and away we go again from the bulls. The bulls have been very good about keeping this up for quite a few days now, almost all week. You'll see by the time we get to the weekly candles, there's really nothing to look at. It's all straight sideways. And today was no exception. Dipping below these lower levels here of 12,350-ish, only to regain those areas by the time we were done with the day. NASDAQ kind of doing the same thing here, where it's just wandering its way. It is still downwards, but wandering its way slowly downwards in anticipation of maybe next week's move. Whether that be up or down is still up in the air. You can see, though, from a daily that for the last week, all we've done is wander down. Now today we did close below that 50, and it had been holding very well. So it'll be curious for me to see where we go come early next week. Closing below the 50 is not a big deal though right now, guys. Just because it's Friday, there's not everybody's hanging around on a Friday afternoon from a big money standpoint. So it's hard to know if this is actually all that accurate with this close below the 50, but it is. It is a close below the 50. It is what it is. But overall, this big picture right here is nothing but, as the other indices are showing, a bull pullback. Here you have the weekly, giving us somewhat of a bearish candle here. Nothing really to glean from this for the time being until we start getting back into these lower moving averages for me. But right now, just a sideways move where we covered all of about 40 points, high to low, all week long in the NDX. Just not much to talk about at all this week from the markets themselves. SPX did drop into some lower levels, tried to break 1325, did not get into the 1320-ish area that I've been having my eyes on. And you can see as we broke these levels, it looked like maybe things would continue. I did send out a warning to my subscribers this afternoon, telling them, hey, we've seen this before. Watch for a bull run coming into the end of the day, and told them, to move stops down if they were in these trades. I gave them some good plays here for the day, but once again, late in the day, the bulls driving it right back up. Just showing a bull flag, kind of a bull pullback for the time being right here. So early next week, I'm sure we'll start to see maybe something a little bit more major on the move. I really thought we'd see something at, during the Wednesday-Thursday time frame this week, and nothing to talk about. We did see dips to the downside, but the bulls managed to get it right back up into what would be pretty safe levels from a bull standpoint. Just not much to talk about in terms of a quote-unquote pullback by any means, because the bulls, after this huge run-up, have been very good at holding it up and near this 1330-ish level. Any kind of further pullback, you'll want to watch these moving averages, but for the week, not much to talk about. Here was the VIX on the day. Finally did get a pop to the upside. You can see for the week we held this upper line I was talking about, not into the 1920-ish area, so all of this is nothing but nothing. There's just nothing else to worry about here. There is no fear right now coming from the options standpoint. The guys in the options markets are not worried about the downside right now within the markets themselves. That 1920 area is still something we want to watch coming into early next week if we start to see that dip to the downside. But right now, no fear really within the options markets whatsoever. Apple, man, this thing has been weak. You guys have got to really be careful with Apple down here. It has just wandered its way downwards every move to the upside. Look at this gap up into 343, met with selling. Moves up, met with selling. Gap up today, met with selling. It was just a overall just a rough week really for Apple, as it saw nothing but down all week long. So making for a good short. We had opportunities below 345ish and some of these other levels to take some shortings or short opportunities. So for those of you that don't mind playing Apple short, there were a few opportunities in here. I'm not a big fan of playing Apple short, but boy, with the weakness it's shown, I certainly haven't been afraid to take some of these entries like below that 345 mark when the week began. On Apple. It was a good put by the end of the week. Apple Weekly, same type of thing here. This 20 held it up for numerous days. Finally gave way today. We did end up closing below that 20-week moving average. This is not good for Apple if it stays here for any length of time. Need the bulls to move this back up early next week and kind of put us in a consolidation triangle type of a pattern. That would be a better fit for Apple in this area, but right now closing below the 20-week is not good. Now we did see one close below it here a few weeks back. It was met by big buying the following week. Let's look to see if we get anything like that coming into early next week in Apple for you Apple bulls. FAS moving down and out of the channel we had been watching. You can see from a daily, we did get a huge red candle on the daily as it broke back below the 50-day moving average. That would have been ultimately my entry to the short side, so right below that $31 area, giving you about 20-30 cents for a trade today by the end of the week, and still looking bullish. Any further pushes to the downside, watch that 30 mark. But for the week, overall, straight across. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, gets us nowhere. Pretty much back to break even as FAS kind of wandered sideways, and FAZ, of course, then doing the same thing, but breaking the channel to the upside. Now, bigger picture, well, I should say short-term picture, it's more bullish for the FAZ, more bearish for the FAS to see it break these particular channels. It had held this beautifully for quite a while, but today breaks over 39, gave a little bit of opportunity to the bulls to buy some of this. I'm not real bullish on this thing until it starts to work its way back up above these moving averages, but here we are yet again breaking this particular channel, this down channel that had held very well for quite a while. One break, though, we're going to give the bears a chance to kind of push that back down and in and see if financials don't get a little bit of some giddy up early into next week. But right now, the break of today, yeah, maybe that lends itself to a little bit more bullish action coming into FAZ and bearish action coming into the markets and overall the financials next week as well. Way too early to tell at this point. As I've said, the indices showing us nothing all week but bullish behavior. This whole staying up here, holding near these upper levels, is all bullish behavior. We will be watching these lower levels very closely coming into next week, and these are the areas you're going to want to be watching for your shorts, for your short plays. If you're an indice trader, not much to talk about, not much to play in the bigger picture. For those that kind of watch Apple and FAS, FAZ, maybe some trading, not really much to be done though. I'll tell you where the real trades came in. I did had some really good calls this week for my subscribers on oil and gold. We did extremely well on those calls this week. So on the subscribers list was definitely worth watching some different things outside of the indices, and that's where we really made our money this week. We had some pretty good moves on some stocks. Not all of them held, but by the end of the week we had some pretty decent gains, not necessarily even from the individual stock standpoint, but definitely from the gold and oil. Great calls on that this week. We made a lot of good money on that, and I'll be watching those closely even in the next week for more gains on the subscribers list. Now, come Sunday, I don't know, I think I'm going to be really busy on Sunday, so it'll be more than likely I'll be back with you guys again on Monday. I'm going to do a weekend, I always do a subscribers letter every day except Saturday, so I will do a subscribers letter on Sunday, but may not have one out for the daily viewers. That might not come until Monday. Some of these levels that we're watching, though, coming into next week, I've listed for you here in this video. You want to watch those closely and see if you don't get some breaks, some opportunities to the short side. Otherwise, guys, this is all still bullish behavior until otherwise proven different. So keep that in mind. Let the charts be your guide. Keep your bias out of it. Let the charts tell you which way to go. You'll be just fine. Okay, guys. See you, if not Sunday, see you on Monday.